Hello, this is Rainbow Rising Freedom. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I want to talk about why we get stuck on our spiritual journey. What are the blocks that keeps us from moving forward, and how to dissolve them and where they come from. I'm talking mostly here to Divine Feminines. This channel has been created with an intention of empowering women and helping them to rise. And I just finished a deep meditation of clearing blocks keeping me from moving forward on my journey. I fell into a deep sleep after this process, and I woke up having the whole timeline of abuse and ill intention of men directed at me. I was really shocked that these things are still in my memory, that these things actually happened, because sometimes we just tend to forget or suppress memories that are unpleasant. But especially in my early 20s, I was a curious person and I like to travel and move forward. And now I realize that oftentimes I accumulated a lot of trauma that pertain to relationships, and it came mostly from being naive, being brought up as a very pure, innocent, giving woman like my mother and my grandmother, and not realizing what it actually means to go out in the world and encounter and clash with other cultural backgrounds. There's good people everywhere, of course, but sometimes when we bravely throw ourselves into the world, especially when we're like very attractive women, you might know that there's situations where we might lack discernment, especially when we're really young and when we are programmed, because as women we have been programmed to please men, to be there for them, to fulfill their wishes, to do what they say. This is very strong, deeply rooted programming that's been there for thousands of years, and we run on it. Our ancestors passed it on to us, and we are the ones to break it, to break the mold, and to free ourselves and to liberate our souls and the divine feminine energy that lies within us and comes through us. When I was meditating and dissolving blocks to my spiritual journey, the process showed me that my blockages as a woman come from abuse, come from men mistreating me, come from the misunderstanding in the connection when I imagine and expect an intention to be one thing and the other person has a completely different story in their head, a completely different intention. So when I realized that this is actually a pattern, a repeating pattern, when I was stuck in a cycle of looking for love and hoping for love to come and happen, the other party was programmed for something else, was programmed mostly for grab and go, use, abuse, and neglect. So all these memories and experiences accumulated because they haven't been healed. I never actually consciously worked on them because I didn't fully realize that they were there. And these traumas really lower our self-esteem. That's the first thing. These unhealed traumas, love traumas, sexual traumas, can keep us stuck in a box of being small. They can stop us from believing that we can achieve the goal, that we can dream big and actually achieve these dreams, make them happen. They can keep us depressed for years, and if unhealed, they can just repeat over and over again for the rest of our lives. So I just want us women to be aware that oftentimes we are treated in a completely different way, we are perceived in a completely different way than we want to be perceived, or than we perceive the other party. Rarely ever people on first days discuss their intentions, their needs, because it would sound really calculated. We want to live with passion and just go with the flow of life, but if it's with the wrong person, and oftentimes the purity of the divine feminine attracts the wolves, attracts darkness, attracts something that just wants to rip our hearts apart. And especially when we're really pure deep in our hearts, we can see, we have the ability to see good in everyone. And that can really work against us at some point. And we might also not have a role model, an empowered, conscious, wise woman that would teach us, protect us, warn us, and direct us. Rarely ever do we have anyone like this. Oftentimes we have to teach ourselves by looking back at our experiences. So I just want to share this to make other women aware that these traumas of abuse can really block us from feeling empowered, from going for what we want, and most of all, from being confident, from feeling worthy, because it destroys our self-worth. So if there's anything that I can advise to my sisters and other women out there, is be very careful and realize that oftentimes different cultures, different nationalities have a completely different perspective of one another, completely different rules on how to connect with one another, and it's just really good to realize that rarely anyone ever on this planet realizes and knows how to handle sexual energy. And oftentimes people are just carried by their traumas on the wave of sexual energy to, I don't know, get some comfort and healing, but they just take and take, and it's not controlled, and it's not guided by an intention. So what I would advise is move away from sexual attraction until you get to know yourself. I know it's hard because the culture nowadays, it's all about that. People don't actually know what love is anymore because everything is about sex. And if we really want to deeply connect with another person, we have to deeply connect with ourselves first. And how to do that? By spending time with yourself, by nurturing yourself, by giving to yourself. Not throwing yourself continuously into yet another relationship that won't work because it's just the same pattern. So that's just my reflection for today. I'm not trying to preach to anyone. We're all in the process, but my realization of how these traumas that are often accumulated in the sacral area can block us from moving forward and really accelerating our growth. If you want to move forward, you got to start there. You got to go and heal the emotional, sexual abuse. If you have experienced that, just meditate and ask yourself and look for help, because this is the key to your growth, your healing, your emotional health. And any kind of relationship, healthy relationship, starts with your own health on all levels. So take care, and I hope that helps.